Welcome to the DOGE Diaries, diving deep into government efficiency. So this whole DOGE initiative, right? 30% cuts across the board? Ambitious, to say the least.
Ambitious? I'd say delusional. This Eric Schnurr piece in Governing makes a pretty compelling case that they're going about it all wrong. 60% of the budget is basically untouchable. Interest, Social Security, Medicare, defense.
Well, yeah, but there's still fat to trim. Schnurr himself admits past efficiency reviews have found 5%, sometimes even 10% in savings.
Right, but those were targeted, realistic reviews. Not this performative, gouge, as he calls it. This whole X subscription requirement for applicants, come on. Smells like a Musk publicity stunt.
Okay, maybe the optics aren't great, but $2 trillion in potential savings? We can't just dismiss that out of hand.
Look, Schnurr points out that real efficiency isn't about massive cuts. It's about hundreds of small improvements. Like that example with the miscalibrated snowplows wasting road salt. Millions down the drain.
I get that. Small changes add up, but we need a fundamental shift in mindset. We need to be open to bigger, bolder solutions. Privatization, for example.
Privatization? Oh, is that what we're calling funneling taxpayer money to Musk's buddies now? Schnurr's worried about exactly that. It's not efficient, it's cronyism.
Look, I'm just saying we need to think outside the box. What about streamlining processes? The permit application example. 14 hands for a 3-step process. That's insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But Schnurr's argument is that you fix that by working with the people in government, not against them. They're the ones who know where the inefficiencies are, like that delivery driver who optimized his packing process.
Interesting point. So engaging the civil servants, empowering them to identify and fix these problems from the inside out. That's an interesting take.
Exactly. And another thing, sometimes spending money saves money, investing in revenue collection, for instance, or offering value-added services, like the postal service trying to do photocopying or banking.
That's counterintuitive, but I see your point. If the government could compete on quality, people might actually be willing to pay for these services.
Right. And who's blocking that? Congress, because it's too successful. That's where the real inefficiency lies, not in some bloated bureaucracy.
So, less about gutting programs and more about improving existing services, increasing revenue streams. It's a different approach, for sure.
It's an approach that actually has a chance of working. Because ultimately, cutting inefficiency isn't about attacking government employees. It's about fixing the broken processes. And who knows those processes better than the people working within them?
So we were talking about how to actually achieve government efficiency, right? Not just these grand pronouncements about slashing budgets, but real, tangible improvements.
Yeah, and this Schnurr piece really hits the nail on the head. It's not about programs, it's about processes. Like who budgets for waste? Nobody. It's the hidden inefficiencies that kill you.
Exactly. He gives that example of the miscalibrated snowplows, just hemorrhaging road salt. Millions wasted, and it's not even a line item in the budget. How do you even catch that?
Right? And the 3 mail trucks circling the Capitol building? Talk about a visual representation of wasted resources. If you're not measuring it, you're not managing it. It's Management 101.
It is. And he makes another good point about reorganizing departments. It rarely saves money because the inefficiencies aren't within departments. They're in the functions that cut across them.
Totally. So instead of these big performative cuts, we need to focus on hundreds of small improvements. That's where the real savings are, he argues.
Oh, and this idea of streamlining processes. 14 people handling a 3-step permit application. That's insane. Just streamline the process, and the staffing will sort itself out.
Absolutely. And where do you find these inefficiencies? Not in some Washington think tank, and certainly not by asking an AI chatbot.
You're going to say it's the people actually doing the work, right? The ones on the ground who see the problems every day.
Exactly. Schnurr uses the example of that delivery driver who revolutionized his packing process. Management took that idea and ran with it, company-wide improvement. And that's how it needs to work in government, too.
So we're talking about government efficiency, right? And this whole DOGE initiative, it's definitely something.
Something? It's a potential dumpster fire. $2 trillion in cuts? That's not efficiency, that's dismantling.
Well, The polls do show people want smaller government. Gallup's been tracking it for years, and the trend is pretty clear.
Yeah, but smaller doesn't necessarily mean better. It's about getting value for our tax dollars. That's what this Santi Ruiz guy was talking about on the American Compass podcast, remember?
Oh, right. Investing in improvement, not just slashing and burning. He talked about state capacity, didn't he? Yeah?
Exactly. And how efficiency sometimes means spending more, not less, like updating legacy tech, which coincidentally seems to be a DOGE priority according to NextGov. So maybe there's some sense in there somewhere?
Maybe. But firing thousands of federal workers? That doesn't sound like optimization to me.
No, it sounds like a political stunt. Remember Ramaswamy's plan? Brutal. And eliminating entire departments like education? That's not efficiency. That's ideological warfare.
I mean, there is a lot of waste in government. 3 mail trucks circling the Capitol? Come on.
Sure, but you don't fix that by throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You fix it by, managing better, measuring things. This isn't rocket science, it's Management 101.
Right? It's about processes, not just programs. Like Ruiz said, who budgets for waste? Nobody. It's the hidden inefficiencies, the snowplows wasting road salt.
Exactly. Or the permit applications needing 14 people for 3 steps. Streamline the process. Empower the people actually doing the work. They know where the problems are.
So this whole Musk-Ramaswamy Department of Government Efficiency idea, right? It's getting a lot of buzz.
Buzz, yeah, but is it the right kind of buzz? This Kelman piece in NextGov makes me wonder.
Well, people do want smaller government. It's a popular sentiment.
Sure, but smaller isn't the same as better. Kelman's point is that real efficiency comes from within the government, not from some outside disruption.
Oh, so like empowering civil servants to identify and fix problems themselves. Interesting.
Exactly. He talks about this change vanguard, civil servants who are already passionate about improving things. We need to unleash them, not demonize them.
I see. So less about slashing and burning, more about working with the people already there.
Precisely. He gives some great examples. Remember that old system of buying food for the military? Super inefficient. Civil servants came up with a better way using commercial products. Saved a ton of money.
Oh, right. And the site licenses for software, too. That was a huge improvement.
Yeah. These weren't top-down mandates. They came from the people on the ground, the ones actually doing the work.
So Kelman's argument is that Musk and Ramaswamy are missing a huge opportunity by not engaging with these people.
Exactly. They're so focused on cutting programs and demonizing the workforce that they're ignoring the real potential for improvement. It's all ideology, no pragmatism.
So this Department of Government Efficiency, this DOGE thing, $2 trillion in cuts? Ambitious, right?
Ambitious? It's ludicrous. It's like saying we're going to cure cancer by wishing really hard.
Well, I mean, there is waste in government. We've all seen it.
Sure, but you don't fix it by swinging a wrecking ball at the whole thing. That's not efficiency. That's just destruction.
But people want smaller government. The polls show it, right?
Yeah, but smaller doesn't automatically equal better. It's about getting value for money. It's about smart government.
Smart government, yeah. So how do we get that?
Not by firing everyone and hoping for the best. You get it by empowering the people already there, the civil servants.
Oh, you mean like unleashing that change vanguard Kelman talks about? The people inside government who are already pushing for improvement?
Exactly. They're the ones who know where the inefficiencies are. They're the ones who streamlined the military food purchases, the software licenses. They're already doing the work.
So Musk and Ramaswamy are kind of missing the point by just focusing on cuts?
Completely missing the point. They're so busy playing to their base, they're ignoring the real potential for change. It's all ideology, zero pragmatism.
So less about slashing and burning, more about working with the people already in government, more carrot, less stick?
Exactly. It's about fixing the processes, not demonizing the people. That's how you get real lasting improvement, not just headlines.
So this DOGE initiative, this Department of Government Efficiency, $2 trillion in cuts, that's a lot.
It's a fantasy. Like how? Where's this $2 trillion even coming from? Did they just pull that number out of a hat?
Well, they're talking about streamlining, cutting waste, finding efficiencies.
Right, but $2 trillion? That's not efficiency, that's dismantling. It's like what, 30% of the entire budget? Impossible.
Yeah, I mean, even if you cut everything that's not defense, Social Security, Medicare, you're still nowhere near $2 trillion.
Exactly. It's just posturing, political theater, trying to appeal to that smaller government crowd.
Well, that is a popular sentiment, right? People do want smaller government.
Sure, but smaller doesn't equal better, does it? It's about value, getting bang for your buck, not just slashing and burning everything.
I see, so like smart government, not just small government.
Exactly. It's about investing in improvements, not just making cuts for the sake of cuts. Updating technology, streamlining processes. That's how you get real savings.
Yeah, not just firing a bunch of federal workers and calling it a day.
Right, because who's going to actually do the work then? You can't just automate everything, and you certainly can't outsource it all to, well, you know who.
Yeah, so this whole DOGE thing, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Interesting? Yes. Terrifying? Also yes. But that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the DOGE Diaries, and from me, a very good night, and may your government be both smaller and smarter.